All right, what's happening, YouTube? How you doing? It's JP Dunphy. No longer your BMW genius at BMW4 Washington. Now it's kind of going out here on my own, doing my own thing. And because of that, I have a little more freedom than I used to have, which is great, fantastic, and, who could ask for anything more? So, yeah, let's get started here just by simply saying, obviously, I'm a big EV fan. I'm a big advocate for it. I've owned four EVs in a very short amount of time. Everything from the Mini Cooper SE to the Tesla Model 3, older 2019. I had standard range one before they had LFP batteries, and BMW i4. And now I'm currently driving a Ford Maverick Hybrid. Sorry, didn't mean that to come out quite the way it did. Bottom line, it's rough. It's definitely rough. So it's a little different, and obviously I'm starting here from scratch, so I don't have the same kind of base for people to kind of come out and have the same kind of audience that I had before. By the way, if you see my videos shaking a little bit, that's because I have my 3D printer. I have a Bamboo Lab A1 Mini on here, and my phone is mounted up here as my main camera, and it's high on an extension over a vibrating thing over here. So very sorry about that. Anyway, so make a little change here, and just wanted to kind of say, thanks for coming in. Anyone that pops in here, obviously no one's watching this live at the moment because starting off from scratch. So people coming across this as a live thing will be probably a little hard to come by as I start this. But as always, I'd love if anyone wants to ever come out here. I'd love if anyone ever wants to join in, start talking. Live chat's open for you. I do see here, I highlight anyone that has any questions as I go forward on this thing. And I say I have one person join in. Hi, how you doing? I always do this whenever first person comes in to, oh, there mine left. Probably just streaming through live stuff. Anyway, so interesting thing is happening. Let's just dive right in. So anyone who is new to the market, or anyone who is not new to the market, you've probably seen there's a massive, and I mean massive, stir over something known as the Slate truck. So the idea of that is it's a clean slate. There's really minimal tech in it, not much to go off. It's just basically here, you start with nothing, highly customizable, lots of great things to kind of make it, really work for you. And I might need to swap out this thing. You know what? I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna come back on and resume this, because I believe right now, let me swap. There we go. And now let's get a hardwire in. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to do a little swapperoo here. I have two routers now going in my background, so I'm trying to figure out whether I want to stick with. I currently have a Dream Machine Wi-Fi 6 router. That's this little guy right here that sort of looks like a half R2D2. And then I also have a larger one down here that doesn't have its own built-in access point, like the Dream router, but might be slowing me down a little bit though, because that is my main one. So I'm going to swap us over hardwired into this guy over here instead, and try and get a little bit better access out of here. So let's see here. Let's move you to. And make sure this thing's getting power. And beautiful it is. Who could ask for anything more? Righty then. After all that. Hey, and that's what I love to see. Nice, strong, no more waning thing. I was telling me I had a bad high latency thing, and I don't want that to happen. I want this to be as streamlined as it possibly can. Because again, new setup from scratch. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the best I possibly can with all this. All right, so where was I? Trucks, EV trucks specifically, and they are all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere. Before it was basically, let's be completely honest. When you first got in here, you basically had the option of really 3 that anyone really knew, you have a rat's ass about, or even would consider, right? So that would be Tesla Cybertruck, which was basically took years to even come out, and now it's just in the toilet. Sorry, not sorry. You had the Ford F-150 Lightning, and then you had, well, Rivian, the R1T. So that's basically all you had. You had not really much else out there. Everything was kind of really expensive. If you wanted to have any of the good stuff, you had to really pay out the wazoo. Everything's about $80,000 to over $100,000. You know, Rivian R1T is now doing its own thing. They're having a nice little extension on what they're doing. Give me one quick second. Yes, my love. Oh, hi. I love you too. Sorry, wife's just saying hi. Anyway, so had that, and there are lots of these little kind of startups. You know, there's like the Canoe that happened, then they went bankrupt, and there are lots of just possibilities that never came to fruition. So because of that, it went into an expansion, then collapsed, and expansion and collapse, and now there's started off the entire EV lineup was basically you could have Tesla, which is, you know, top of the line. That's just what they had. Then they start dropping the prices massively, super affordable, and I mean compared to everything else that was out there, and you know they became the Camry of EVs. Whereas they started off saying like, "Ooh, look how nice and upscale we are," but then you actually had legacy automakers starting to do it, and you're like, "Oh, it's not as good as you thought." But they did do some things very well. I always admit where any brand, whether I like them, dislike them, they do well. So Tesla did a fantastic job with one thing alone, and that was their charging network and that charging port, the one that can do AC and DC exactly the same way, using the same port and same fantastic power delivery with very little power loss. NACS is a fantastic plug, and so good that very obviously a lot of legacy automakers have now started to actually go into using that going forward. But that's neither here nor there in this particular moment of this. So you had all that. Then you had Rivian with the R1T. They started with their launch mode that was a quad motor, amazing air suspension, legit, true, 100%, one thing to do everything. It can go off-road, it can go on-road, it could be when you got the R1S, it could be your 3-row SUV, it could be upscale yet also highly eco-minded, which is fantastic. And I'm a big fan of them. I am massive fan of Rivian, to the point where I'm actually even trying to start working for them now, because I'm excited about what they have coming out. I am really excited. So the R2 and the R3, the R3X, like I hope they literally put that out there and don't make any changes. Anyway, back on topic. So you had all those. Again, the problem with this is every single one of these is super expensive. And the average car price today is about $50,000, which is a lot of money. Because basic finance concept is whatever the price of the car is, the MSRP. So if it's a $50,000 car, you basically double it. So it's like 50, double it to 100. So a $50,000 car would basically cost you $1,000 a month. It's expensive. It's definitely expensive. So when you're looking at a $100,000 car a month, you're probably close to about $2,000 a month, or a $100,000 car. If you're financing it, you're going to be close to like $2,000. So that's a lot. And a couple companies came out and they basically said, you know what, we want to change that. So I really want to highlight those two companies and explain why I actually have a pre-order in. So I have a reservation in for actually all three of these particular companies that have come out. Rivian's one, but they don't have a truck coming out, but a newer, smaller truck coming out. But I do have an R2 pre-ordered because they have some amazing stuff coming in for user UI. They're going a long way on their expectations for what they're going to be doing for any and all autonomy, which is huge. So I look forward to seeing that. And yeah, now onto the actual truck side of it. So when it comes to the trucks that are out there right now, like, let's just pop this out here, right? So, I mean, you have the Hummer EV pickup. It's massive. It's a $96,000 car. That's for the X2 or the 2X version. Then they also have a 3X. That's the 3-motor version. And that, pumps up the price. Massive, massive battery. Ultium battery is underneath it. It's kind of like almost, if you look at how they put the whole thing together, it sort of looks like a gigantic band of like solid state battery. It's not, but it should be modular, which is something that could make it a highly desirable platform in the future, which we'll see if that's the way it actually happens and works out for it. Let me change up the way I'm doing this a little bit here. So, you have that. Then they, of course, brought in the same battery pack, a little bit more sporty, because it's not hauling on as much range. It's not using off-road tires, which the Hummer EV does. They basically put, and these are massive. I mean, massive. They're 22-inch wheels, which is huge. So whatever happened to smaller wheels? But I'll get to that in a second because that plays into one of the reasons why I chose a different option here. So, you basically have these. So basically $90,000 here, $100,000 here, $110,000 for the three motor one. Then you had Ford F-150. Again, even though it starts at 62, no one ever gets to 62 because people actually want to be able to do stuff. If you want to get one of these, you want it to, have onboard power, be able to do your power bank. And again, good concept, but it has basically half the amount of actual range. So when you actually start to tow with this thing, it's absolute garbage. Absolute dog crap. Has no range. I think it went from, I can't remember if the stated range was 300 or something like that. So here, stated range 320 miles. Whether that's actually the case, I think that's yet to be seen. And again, they even say that on the Lariat. So in terms of what they can do, it's there. It's fine. I like it. It's okay. And then, like I said, you have that. You have Rivian. Except. And the R1T, which is a fantastic truck. Their Generation 2, which they just came out with, has really expanded heavily on what they can actually do. Refinement of the chassis and usability. It's a great size frunk. The gear tunnel through the middle, which basically is so good that one of the cars that I am highly interested in, which is half the price, is literally copying off it in a very unique way, which I'll go over in a second. And then, of course, you have Tesla with the Cybertruck. And they came out with, starting at 62,000. Sure. And they basically never launched it. They launched it only with the Cyberbeast version, which is that 3-motor version. And, if you look into any of this stuff, of course, the way that I don't care, do not use my shite. The thing that always pissed me off about Tesla and the way they do it is they always have automatically, you look at this price and you go, oh, it's so affordable. Except that includes a $7,500 tax credit. It also makes them basically say that you want to include 5 years excuse me, 5 years of gas savings, which no one ever actually sees that if they use it the same amount, drive the same way, and all of that. But let's just, assume that you want to do it their way, right? Actual tax deductions, they have their own terms, things of that nature, which, by the way, fun fact about that, they're also trying to legit rip you off, because let's be honest here. If you're doing this, you need to include your taxes. Oh my gosh, what a sudden jump. basically $77,000. Well, surely it can't be that bad. Let's go to the Cyber Beast and do the same thing. Oh, wait, they don't include this? Oh, let's actually include the tax tags and for it. Now it's up there in price. And of course, that's not even going into the fact that they had massive issues with pedestrian safety. They had the things where these little wheel caps that you can have. So they have an optional 20-inch wheel, or they have these ones, which this little cover, while it does help in a little bit of aerodynamics, it actually digs into the side of the tire, which is insane. Like, they should have done. It took years and years and years to actually come out with that, and they still didn't even do that right. But all this aside, with all these options that are out there, they're big battery packs. They all have decent range. Obviously, let's assume that they're trying to be right. If you actually got 350 miles out of it, I'd be surprised. Now, the one thing I had when I was at BMW, I was completely ruined by BMW because they basically underestimated their batteries pack and their efficiency. You have to look at the entire package. It's not just about the size of the battery. It's not just about the power that the engine puts out. Electric motors. It's not about the power that the motors put out, how many motors you have, any of that stuff. Obviously, more motors mean you have more potential for regen, depending on which one you're looking at. But again, just factor in all of that, and then you think of things like Rivian with the R1T has a fantastic option where we go into here, they have their 3 different models. It all works out just fine. It's a 4.5-foot bed, same as the Maverick. But again, they have the gear tunnel that's in there. Fantastic headlights. They're on their Gen 2 options, which they basically went from, I can't remember exactly how many modules they had and how many they went to, but it was something insane. Like they had almost 20 some modules in the car before, and they basically pared it down to either 5 or 7, somewhere around there. So everything's more efficient. It's more energy efficient. They have some more wheel options and a couple more tire pricing options. Their starting one right here, the 270 mile, which actually, that's with their quote unquote better range option. So if you put the one that I would actually suggest on it, so if I built mine out the way I prefer and just put the 20-inch tire with the all-season tire on it, it's only 258 miles. However, it has better charging capabilities than the NMC battery that's in it later. The LFP battery, you can charge to 100%. You're actually supposed to, because that's better for those particular batteries. You don't have to do the 80% kind of lockouts, and then it's stuck with less range anyway. And it's just more efficient in how they do it. So I would like to see Rivian actually make their charging ability and hopefully move to an 800-volt architecture. I think that's a better way to go. The one thing that does make the Cybertruck a much more desirable car in that sense, they do have a 48-volt system inside the entire car, so it's not 12 volts, some kind of step up anywhere else. So everything inside the car is run by a 48-volt system. Ford F-150, again, non-800-volt battery pack. Hummer EV and Sierra EV, because the 204 or or 205 volts battery pack. They do have 800 volt architecture and 350 kilowatt charging. So because of that, they can basically see insane great stuff. And if you want to look for actual distance, the Sierra EV Denali is absolutely amazing in terms of that, because it can actually get almost 460 miles, 440 miles of range when charged to 100. So that's absolutely insane and wonderful to see. I love that they're actually doing that. It's actually a capable truck. It can actually tow what it's supposed to. It has actual steel that's connected to the chassis, like it was with the Hummer and its setup. And it actually works. It does what it's supposed to do. It actually hauls where it's supposed to haul. So in terms of that, great. Ford F-150, same concept. It hauls what it's supposed to haul, does what it's supposed to do, and yet horrible range. This one, press double the battery pack with the, Denali Sierra. Double the battery pack, get more range. Just more efficient. It's just really like, if you're looking for one to do it, that kind of does it all. It also has the crab walk option and took a lot of things from the Hummer, because they're sharing stuff in the family. Although strangely enough, they don't allow Apple CarPlay on them. Ford F-150 does. They basically rely on it. Rivian does not have Apple CarPlay. Cybertruck, obviously not Apple CarPlay. And this all kind of leads us down this wonderful long path where I am very long-winded over the course of 22 minutes saying trucks are now much more apparent, and most of the people that want these trucks probably are not going to get them. So if anyone's coming out of a Ford F-150, you're not going to get a Cybertruck because it's not as capable as a Ford F-150. If you're coming out of a Sierra with a 6.2 liter V8 underneath the hood, or even like a Super Duty, 2500 HD heavy duty truck, it's not going to be able to cover your needs like anything else. So that's not an option when it comes to that. The only legit car that you have is a real option if you want to have a car that can do all these things. Because I don't know if you've seen, there are tons of videos online where this truck can't even do the basics. It gets stuck in water. It gets stuck fording some water. It gets stuck in, minimal snow. All of this, it's depressing. It's hyper depressing. Rivian, never see that problem. This thing legit goes everywhere. It's amazing. You want to talk about the one truck that can do it all? Rivian is that. The thing is, Rivian is that at a pretty high premium price. So again, it's rough if that's what you're considering. They do have a max battery pack option on them. You have to get either the dual or the tri-motor options to get it. But if you do that, bumps up to about 140 kilowatts. Very efficient overall. For a truck, I actually think the truck has slightly better efficiency than the SUV, which is kind of insane. So the R1S is slightly worse in efficiency than the R1T, but still a fantastic vehicle. Again, good amount of options, all-terrain package with underbody things. This is basically the truck to do if you want to actually do adventure trucking, overlanding, anything like that. This is the one to get. Sierra EV falls in a second place on that. Although it's not as capable off-road, it's not as functional off-road in terms of that, and it's not as sporty on the road. It's still a truck. It feels like a truck. If you wanted to have an EV truck and you wanted to feel like an actual truck, Sierra EV is the way to go. It's really hard to beat that. Hardcore. You get the Hummer because you want to have, a loud personality and say you have a Hummer. So lots of good things in the market as it is. But here's where the shakeup happens. And here's the reason why, and I'll tell you the exact reason why I went with these other two, where I see there might be some problems and where I see they might actually be a good place to spend your time and money. So moving away from the major automakers, we're going to go back into 2 EV startups, if you even want to call them that. So this right here, let me reload this page, is the Tello truck. If you have not heard of Tello, oh my God, you want to talk about something that is actually fantastic in packaging. I mean, fantastic. And I feel like every single one of these companies, whether it's startup or any of the other ones, they're always poaching from each other. You know, whoever it is worked at Lucid, worked at Rivian, worked in Polestar, worked at Tesla, and they're now working at these other startups. Side note, I know I just got all the other trucks. I do have to go back. One thing I'm super excited about with Rivian, they just got on their board of directions a guy who is insanely well known for kind of AI learning and autonomous driving. So I'm hoping they might use that kind of hand in hand. I'm hoping that they're going to fix the onboard personal assistant, kind of like your onboard AI. Because right now it's kind of not the best in the world. And I think it's based out of Alexa, which I despise Alexa with all my heart. And frankly, even Siri is going massively downhill, but that's a video for another time. Bottom line of it, this is the Tello truck. And I have a pre-order in for one. Actually, I'll show you my pre-order. So my pre-order is a blue truck. It is small. It is tiny. I have very minimal things in here. The pre-order is $152. Why? Because the entire car is 152 inches long. It's the same footprint as a Mini Cooper 3-door. And you know how much I love minis. Anyone who knows me. They have 2 motor variants on here. You have a single motor, 300 horsepower, 2-wheel drive, starting at $41,520. And this is before any incentives, mind you. This is literally their starting price for it. So they have that. That is going to be front-wheel drive over countless going overs of all that. And actually asking contractors. There are a lot of contractors that are actually getting this truck because you can, a couple things which I'll go over in a second, why it's going to be such a popular truck with the contractors. In terms of its capabilities, this thing is an actual four-seater, or 4 or 5-seater. It can actually fit people. Yes, there's a little tiny front here. There's no front because there's no front hood because you don't need it. So I love it because they actually went out of the box and thought, how can we get the most functionality, most capability, and everything that our customers want and need in something that is not massive? Because these trucks are huge. The Rivian R1S R1T is the smallest possible one. That's 212 inches right now. That's massive, massive, massive truck. You know, not going to be as massive as the other ones. Obviously, there are some. I also have a. I actually forgot to even put it in here. Scout Motors. So I mentioned earlier I had 3. I completely forgot to even pull this one up, but I got more excited about these other ones. So Scouts, if you don't know, this is part of the VW group. They're coming in. I have a pre-order in right now for the Scout Terra. That's their pickup truck. Here, let me pop it up right here. I did opt for the Harvester option in my pre-order. So they come in two options overall. You have a battery-only option, which has about 350 miles of range. It seems to be a pretty big battery, probably around 100 for something that size. This is basically a full-size truck, or kind of bridges the gap between a full-size truck and a mid-size truck. Fantastic personality. I'm a massive fan of it. It's just really great interior. I love everything that they're trying to pull with it, and it's just a very attractive truck. You know, some things you look at and you're like, yeah, love that. It's just really attractive. It actually has, live axles front and rear, dual motors, one rear, has a big frunk, normal size truck bed. It's just usable. There's no mid-gate that falls down in the back, so the Sierra EV does have the fold-down mid-gate, which can give you 10 feet, 10 inches total if you do that, plus the little extension you can do on the back with the basically multifunction tailgate. So the mid-gate can fold down in and give you a massive amount of room. This thing does not do that, although this does have a bench for the front seat option. So you can actually have a 6-seater, which is kind of cool. Very nice user interface, big fan of that. And it's just built a good way. Now, the one thing they did separately from that, they also will give you a slightly smaller battery option and give you a gas range extender on it. So that gas motor does not drive the wheels in any way. It's still an electric truck. But the way they do it, this one will probably have a really big push against the Rivian R1T, the R1T specifically, the dual motor as well as the tri-motor and the upcoming quad motor that they're going to re-release for their Gen 2. But this one, basically live axles, but electrified. It's an actual body-on-frame style, so like actual truck, not unibody like all these other ones. So actual truck. This thing might be amazingly capable at the end of the day, which I look forward to seeing exactly what it's capable of doing. And like I said, I have a pre-order on one of these guys as well. So right now I have 3 orders for 3 trucks, coming from a guy who never liked trucks until I owned one. And now I'm like, crap, I really like trucks. It's a real problem. Anyway. So that one gets a range extender. It's expected that the range extender will be capable of doing over 500 miles of range. So because of that and the way they determine whether something's basically a range extender versus a hybrid car is, again, this motor, the motor that's part of the Harvester option, which is the range extender option. The motor never drives the wheels. It only acts as a generator. It's supposed to be able to add over 200 miles of range overall, which means that the battery pack, instead of being 350 miles of range, drops to about 300. So a little bit less battery pack, a little bit less weight, and it might balance out perfectly with exactly how much the Harvester is. Now, an interesting fact is when they launched this car, they showed this car with the Harvester option as part of their little side note. But when they did so, they did not show any lack of frunk, or like it didn't like impose in the front and it didn't impose in the bed, which means it's probably going to be sitting underneath the rear of the bed and underneath the actual bed itself. So what that should do is basically give you, well, no, you're not going to lose any of your capabilities in the truck itself. So this is the first one I put my deposit on. And then, because I couldn't help but look into it, I was like, oh, there are more options. Because, why not? Why not? There's so many options. So many options now. How can you possibly know where to start? They're saying that this is going to start around, well, they're saying it's going to start at a good rate, like a good pricing. They didn't say how much every other option is or what any of the options will cost. And they're probably going to not do that anywhere else. Other major benefits, it is the 800-volt architecture, so it's going to be a fast charging option out there. It's, legit front and rear mechanical locking differentials, everything you need to actually make it do truck things, which is great. There it is right here. So full electric, 350 miles of range, range extender, for 500 miles of range, get you anywhere, anytime. Here's all the nice flexibility. I love the language of it, history of it. Now, interior. Massive fan of this screen. So this little screen has basically everything you need, and there's a little tiny button that actually makes it so it's sort of oriented toward the driver under normal circumstances. Let me make this a little bigger for you so you can actually see it. So normally it actually has this little guy right here. Everything's kind of more towards the driver himself. So sometimes the passenger wants to take over, which there's a little button and it actually reverts the other thing. So maybe you have a navigator who wants to have the map. You want the music. Flop it, switch it, one touch, does so. Again, their UI is extremely smart in the way they did it. I love the way their UI works. It's like they just really thought out their user interface in a way that makes it worthwhile for people to consider. Now, back to the truck that I personally am the most excited about, and assuming nothing else changes, this is going to be my go-to, and I'll continue through the build of this to show exactly why. So you have the 300 horsepower single motor option. Then you can also get dual motors, 500 horsepower four-wheel drive, and it's only, it's basically $4,500 more for the all-wheel drive, which is fantastic. They have 2 battery packs in here. So you have the standard battery pack, good for 260 miles, and you have the long range, which is a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack in this tiny little thing. 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's a fast charger. They're supposed to charge it on. It's in those 400 volt architecture. They're doing all the little tricks that they can on the inside to actually get it to charge in about 20 minutes, which is great. Still not, 30 minutes, which is great. I'm obviously getting mine in blue. I get all mine in blue. And I don't know if you can see, there's a little tiny thing right here. So this also has a little tunnel underneath, but it's known as the monster tunnel. Why? Because the monster is under the bed. I love that. Come on, that's great. You gotta love anyone that has that kind of sense of humor when they're doing their build outs here. All right, it's good. They put their charge port where it's supposed to be for anyone that uses the NACS charging standards. These rear lights right here are part of it, so it shows you exactly how much it's charged and when it's active charging and where the charge is at. The charge port is just underneath here. Whole thing flops down, does an all thing. This has an actual 5-foot bed, which is great. This has smaller wheels. I don't know if you can see this. This number right here, 16-inch normal wheels. Do you know how wonderfully cheap that's going to be? And that way you can actually have good tires and not break the bank getting them. They're not 20s, not 22s, not 21s. They're not massive freaking tires and wheels. They actually thought about this. So I love that. The amount of engineering know-how that went into this is brilliant. And I love that they thought outside the box. I am 10,000. I am putting everything I've got behind this because I love this truck. Love it. Moving on. So you have all that. 2 interiors, very simple. But again, this is so wonderfully simple. So everything's nice, reclaimable options, functionality. I wish I could get rid of this live stream thing right here. Once I do this, it feels uncomfortable. Oh well. You know what? I'll make myself a little. Where are you at? There you go. At least my eyes are below it now. Okay. So I'm a massive fan of this. Massive. So it's not the 6-spoke style. So here, let me make this big again so you can actually see it. All right. So this guy right here. So it's rounded out, but still, basically hexagonal. I love that. I'm a big fan. I'm a 9-3 guy. And when I want to, I'll just do one hand on top, one hand on the bottom, wherever I'm feeling. But typically I like to do 2 hands right at 9-3. It's a great wheel. You can see the instrument cluster behind it. It has really nice UI. I'm a big fan of that. They're working on Apple CarPlay right now, which is huge. Has wireless charger option. Everything you need. And the back. Super nice. Airy. Glass roof. And this can actually fit 3 car seats in it, which is huge for me because that's all I care about. Can I fit 3 car seats? That's all I need. That's all I care about. I get that with this truck. Another thing that's super unique about this, the front seats are actually on pedestals. So instead of being you normally have two rails on the side. The whole thing sits there, and there's a little thing that makes it move up and down, forward and back. Nope. This thing has a single post in the middle, pedestal right at the middle, and the whole thing slides on top of that pedestal instead. So again, so much more unique, more rear net leg room, more rear foot room. All of that's going to be just wonderful, and in the size of a Mini Cooper, and it has an actual 5-foot bed. All right, it has an actual 5-foot bed. This thing is capable with a single motor of 2,000 pounds payload. 2,000 pounds. That's great. It drops a little bit up to 1,800 when you, or 1,700, 1,800, 1,700, one of those two, 1,700 or 1,800 when you do the all-wheel drive dual motor, but you get 500 horsepower, so who gives a rat's ass? Again, it fits so well. And then right here at the top, again, you have two wheel options. You have either the 5-spoke or the 4-spoke. I'm going 4-spoke. I don't want the 17s. Or sorry, these are 16s too. 16-inch tires. They don't even go with 17s. They have a tonneau cover, and here, this thing right here, this guy right here. Let me make this full screen so you can actually understand what I'm saying. They are partnered. They're the first manufacturer out there right now to be partnered with Aptera. So if you don't know Aptera, they have a little 3-wheel one. They've been the little teardrop shaped kind of car. It's only 3 wheels, so technically it'll be a motorcycle license to use it. But those things are, that thing is, and its testing was capable of over 1,000 miles of range because of how extremely efficient it was and low drag. So they actually are the first manufacturer, first one to have Aptera give them their solar stuff. So they have a solar roof right there, and they have 2 solar options for the back as well. So you either have a solar tonneau cover right here, solar tonneau cover, and solar cab cover. I would be getting these two in case you can't tell. And they also have a camper shell and a solar camper shell. Now, I personally am going for the solar tonneau. It's slightly more surface area overall, so I get a little bit more solar out of this. Now, these two guys combined, the solar cab and the solar tonneau cover, mean that I'm going to be leaving this entire situation with this. And considering my current job, I sit at I'm there 11 hours a day, basically from the morning until the sun goes down at night. That's 11 hours of sun during the day. I would regain my drive every single time I'm there. I would basically never need to charge this car. That's how much I love this particular truck. Imagine a truck you never have to fill, never have to charge. Unless you're going for a long trip, your daily drive, your daily commute is covered by just sitting there. God, that's great. And that's why every contractor out there will love this. How many contractors don't have a covered thing? They go to a work site, they're outside. This thing's capable of some light off-roading. It's not meant as an off-roader, but it's meant as a heavy-duty truck. So this thing can tow. This has the same truck bed size as a Toyota Tacoma. It can tow 1,000 pounds, or sorry, 100 pounds more towing capability. This thing they did a thing where they actually towed this thing's own prototype. That's more than a Toyota Tacoma can tow. And this thing did it. So this tiny little truck at the size of a Mini Cooper is outdoing every other truck that is a mid-sized truck. I love it. 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 I'm all in on this truck. All in. Just, oh my God, I love this truck. And again, that's all you get. It's basically front or all-wheel drive, smaller or long-range battery. You have 8 color options, everything you normally want to expect. 2 interior options, two wheel options. And do you want a tonneau cover or a camper top? Now, here's the thing that really just made this thing blow my mind. So, I need to go back here because if it's there, And of course, this thing didn't load, but this is literally where it shows you 152 inches long, same size as the Mini Cooper. So it goes against the Mini. Forward, all of it. Now, here's the part that I absolutely love about it. So it has the gear tunnel underneath. And I'm not sure, I can't even zoom in on this thing, but I wish I could. The mid gate on this drops down. So when you need to, you drop that down and you have an 8-foot bed. Not only that, in the truck bed, in the back, right over that little gear tunnel option, there is a waterproof sealed cover that you can remove. You can then put seats in the back. So this can go from a 5 to an 8-seat SUV in the size of a Mini Cooper. Last but not least, when you're looking at the God, I love that. When you're looking at the back of it, there's this little tiny lip right here around the outside. That thing is removable. So when they put the camper top on it, it actually seals to it. It's not something that necessarily butts up against it. There's no leak, nothing. It actually locks into place over it. And that's going to be going to any third-party manufacturer. So they know every single thing that anyone makes for it. It's going to work perfectly, seamlessly, every time. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I am all here for it. Now, for the last but not least, the Slate. So if you have not been following anything, this thing, they just did their reveal, like official reveal launch kind of this thing. I think it was 2 days ago now. And this is the Slate truck. This is meant to come in. So by the way, my Tello truck comes out to about $52,000 with all the things I want. And that's all. That's that's literally half the price of the Rivian R1T I've been dying to get. Dying to get. And just couldn't bring myself to get it because I knew that the Generation 2 was coming out, so I just held off for it. And then they didn't do the quad option, so I was like, damn it. So then I built a tri-motor version, and yeah, like I said, it just came around and never happened. But Slate, this thing is amazing. For what it is, it's 100% built in the U.S. It's a $25,000 starting price, and they held true to that. And they did a great job. I mean, great job of just letting you know this is take all the frills out, all the autonomous driving, all the things. And it's going to get intense because I'm going to go over this thing in some detail here too. In some ways, they knocked this out of the park, and in other ways, oh my God, they shit the bed with this. They really shit the bed with this. In other ways, okay, so. Just starting off with the most frequently asked questions. So they actually have a nice little, where are you? Handy chart. The specs by the numbers. So these little guys, it has a 7 cubic foot frunk. That's the same size frunk as the trunk of my Scion FRS that I had. NACS standard on the back driver's side corner, exactly where it needs to be. You're not taking up 2 spaces when you're using a Tesla charger. NACS connector. It is a small truck at 174 inches, still longer than my little Tello. But this also has a 5-foot bed. Now, where this heavily falls short so this is a great entry-level truck. It's a great just go-arounder. You just need something to get you from A to B. It's rear-wheel drive only. There's no all-wheel drive option as of right now. It has a 150 kilowatt single rear-mounted motor. It'll have 2 battery packs options. You have standard and extended. The standard range is expected to be 150 miles. So it's about a 50 kilowatt hour battery. My 32 28 kilowatt hour usable Mini Cooper SE had a EPA estimated range of 114 miles. I got 132 out of it. This thing is worse than that in terms of efficiency. And let's face it, the Mini is not the most efficient shape in the world, but this one is less efficient. Obviously, it has the extended option, but they don't say what any of the prices are on any of this. Now, here's the part that really, really falls short. So the Tello and these trucks both have 5-star crash theft ratings. That's not the problem. I feel like any car today is going to be good in that. They both have 35 cubic feet of bed volume. They're both 5 feet bed length. Where this thing really falls short, I mean, really falls short, because so where the Tello is capable of doing 2,000 or 1,800 pounds of payload, this thing maxes out at 1,400. It's not the best. The part where this really hurts my soul is its towing capacity. Towing capacity. Is only 1,000 pounds. So this thing's not towing anything. Anything. Nothing. It's just towing nothing. So this is not a tow vehicle. And then, again, compare that to a standard Toyota Tacoma, which does 6,500 pounds of towing. Compare that to the Tello, which does 6,600 pounds of towing. It's just... So this is half the price and less than half capable. So if it is about like getting what you pay for, it is there. Now, it's also not the fastest charger in the world at all. So it's stated level 2 charge right here is 25 to 40 miles per hour of charge. That's not bad. That means that in theory it should be able to do at least 11 kilowatts in terms of AC. That's good. Where it seems to fall flat on its face, though, is DC charging. It'll do 20 to 80 in 30 minutes. Which probably means, I know they had to have stated it somewhere, I just think I missed it. But that means it probably matches out between like 120 kilowatts and 140 kilowatts of DC fast charging. Which is good because you can basically use any DC fast charger. Like Gen 1, or Gen 2, Gen 3, or Gen 4. But it's not going to be a fast charge. At all. Most current chargers will put that thing's range into its battery pack in 12 minutes. This takes 30 minutes to do 60% of its total battery capability. That's not good for a 2025 model. Just being completely honest about that. Now, the other thing that it does is absolutely insane personalization. But first, I really just want to go over this thing because it's good, it's capable. This rear glass is removable, and it has two tricks up. This thing has two tricks up its sleeve that actually make it highly. Every time I do that, it's that highly expandable. So this is the standard truck. No matter what, this is the thing that comes off the assembly line. That's great. What it does differently in this one is they also offer two expansions, so basically SUV conversions to the truck. They again don't say the price of it, but it would go from a 2-seater to a 5-seater. And they sit here and still have a decent amount of room in the back. It has a standard box style, or here, I'll show you. So here's the standard. Here's the box SUV. As you can see, it adds conversions, seats in the back, nice and boxy. And it looks like it actually is able to take the rear glass. If I do this, it looks like it takes the rear glass and reuses it in the back here, which is kind of cool. I like that. So they have that. Steely wheels, which is great. And then they also have the kind of fastback SUV. This one does not reuse the glass by appearances. So again, if they're able to do all this and still keep it under $30,000, I think this is still going to be a good winner for a lot of people. Not particularly for me, but for a lot of people. Now, the thing that really sets them apart, I mean like really sets them apart, is customization. They don't have any paint. They wrap the car instead. Custom wrap, whatever you want. They can do it and they can install it for you. Or send it to you to do it. So you can change your wrap on your car as many times as you want, as long as you want. Everything in terms of... Okay, so here's the thing about this that kind of drives me nuts. Where other manufacturers simply try and give you the best possible, most options, or at least near the most options, and then they say, hey, this is what most people want. Some people might want this on top and then offer that as an option on the back. They give you nothing and then offer you everything, which means that scalability of this might be a real problem for them. Or at least that's what I'm predicting will be a real problem, because they're not going to make, if they produce 100,000 of these, they're not going to make 100,000 of the parts for every single one of them. They're going to find out what needs to be made. They can't make it on the spot, so they need to guess as to what's going to be. So if something becomes more popular than they expect, they're going to be behind on it. Whereas if it was just standard in the car, it's not behind. They're not offering it right off the bat. I mean, it's little things like you can change the front of it. You can change the front name on it. It doesn't have to say Slate. You can give multiple bumpers. You can let's actually just go through this. Like, you can do partial wraps, decals, on like little tiny things, like little touch here, different colors, whatever you want. Like, it's heavily customizable. But the things that really matter on it, they have roof rail options. They have different rear bumpers. They have the option of an actual wheel on the back, which you'll need the rear bumper to do that. So this button option is right here. You can also get a matching front bumper. You can get fender flares. Like, no flares, flares. No flares, flares. I like the look of the flares. This reminds me a lot of kind of the Bronco. not the current one. And then they have single step on the back or full step, which seems a little funny to me because why? Suspension, you can have it lower or higher. You want to slam it? Slam it. You want to... I can lower it and keep it low. And last but not least, I can change the low headlight options. They have all kinds of things on here. I personally think do it like this. I think it looks simple and exciting. Neon Echo. In terms of wheels, it's basically, you can get these in gold, white, black, or these, gold, bronze, black. Or you can get just the Steelies with all off-road tires, which you wouldn't take this thing off-road. I wouldn't take this thing off-road. Maybe like a trailhead, but not off-road. So yeah, you have all that. You have little things you can add to it, like slate options, colors. It's a lot. It's a shit ton of customization. I mean a shit ton. I'm trying to be nice when I say it. It's a lot of customization. I personally would not want any of it. I would just want Steelies. If I was going to do mine, it'd be Steelies. In terms of lighting, taillights. You can customize your taillights. You want it to be blocky. You want it to be pixelated. Do you want it to be blacked out? Do you want it to be not blacked out? Options galore. Now, here's the thing that really shocked me. Manual windows. You can opt for a window sticker, a window button. But from the factory, manual windows. There's also, in case you haven't noticed, no infotainment, no radio. And I think the idea behind this was a lot of people out there love the K cars, the little K trucks, tiny ones from like Hondas and whatnot. I think they were trying to get the idea of that in this, but they're not doing that. What they are doing, in case you can't tell right here, is offering, and they will offer an option for it. I'm sure it'll be a relatively expensive one. But instead, you have 2 storage boxes right here. So if I show the hotspots and open it. Come on. But their website doesn't even want me to open it. But this is fine. There's nothing in back here because I don't know why they call it a hotspot if it doesn't do anything. Like, yeah. Now, and see, we're not even close through this entire list here. So they have option. You can get a center console in slate black or brown, or no center console. I personally would like the center console. On the doors, you can get a little tiny bar right here. It's literally just a decal. You can also change the color on it. For the seats, I can do brown and green or just black. I would obviously do black. Even just the standard one looks fine. Black and slate. Carpet liners. I would get that. In terms of... Hey, come on. I'm trying to show people this. In terms of the center display here, you can either have your slate, your phone, do it, or if you really wanted to save some money, have your iPad do it. It's literally just an iPad mount. It is a tablet mount. Get brushed aluminum pedals, bench rear seat, which by the way, it looks extremely small for the center, which means having 3 kids in the back is probably not going to be a thing for me, which is why I don't believe this is going to be the truck for me. In terms of the steering wheel, you have 2 options. You either have no accent, gunmetal, small accent, or bronze accent. I would do none of the above. Steering wheel controls and auxiliary buttons are an option. There is a small spot for your key fob, and your key fob can be colored. I'd probably do a bright color. The doors and windows have their own thing. The dashboard has its own thing. You can actually get little tiny AC vents. Either no option, gunmetal, or bronze. I would get none. Just keep it black. Change the dash to be different colors. I'd probably just do black perforated. Slit lights, which are little tiny things you can stick on this little bar right here. And then here's the coup de grace. They can do integrated speakers. You can do an expansion speaker on the bottom, or you can bring your own speaker mount. I'm not gonna lie, for the price of it, it might be more worthwhile to do your own speaker mount, and then just simply get like a Dr. Dre Beats speaker and put it there. And then you can add Bluetooth steering wheel controls. Or your colors. Like I said, this is just... It's such a massive massive list. And while it is extremely customizable, and I'm sure there are people out there that would love that and desire that, it's never going to be as good of a car for the basics and flexibility that you would want. It's a car that could grow with you. If you're starting out, this could be a fantastic first car. I would actually consider getting this for my kids as their first car. Just safe, basic, not a lot of range, not a lot of speed, and just like a phone mount. Really simple. I might splurge and get them a Bluetooth speaker, but This will be easier to park. Have them less distracted by things. I think all that is something that is severely missing. And from what I understand, in terms of the user interface on it, there's going to be an app that you download that'll basically be your car's brains. The only thing that they don't say outright is if you plug in or not. It would make sense that you'd have to plug it in to get the benefit out of it. But yeah. Again, for me, I'd rather have the usability than the customization ability. I'd rather have a car that's more capable than customized. I used to be big on that customization stuff. I used to be huge on it. Not much anymore. All right, I'm actually getting a little tired, so I am going to say thank you guys very much. Thanks for joining me. Obviously, if anyone's seeing this after the fact, leave comments. I always respond to my comments that I get. I am expanding this out. I am thinking about calling this channel and renaming it as the Bearded Signal. I have logos for it. And those logos seem and feel, let me see if I can even get it on here. Not you. Anyway. Go back. So again, this is sort of what I was debating on. My only issue with it seems a little propaganda-y. I might want to change the colors. I also was considering this, but frankly, I feel like it makes me look like Andrew Tate, and I hate that. So, and then, last but not least, kind of obsessed with this one, but yeah. I think the Beard Signal's kind of going to be the winner here, and it's back and forth between whether or not it's going to be a situation of making a whole separate channel, renaming this one, maybe making a podcast. I'm going to make a podcast out of it as well. At least that's the plan. And yeah, this will be a fun and entertaining journey. Obviously, anyone who is here, if you've found this in any way entertaining, helpful, anything of that nature, like, comment, share, subscribe. I need to grow this channel. I was at 14,300 on my other channel before I had to duck away from that. But that's where I want to be. I love doing this. This will never be my full-time job, but this will be something I enjoy doing, connecting with people like you who tune in. And yeah. Also, as a side note, anyone who is new to streaming, if you want to check out StreamYard and look into this yourself, this is the link. I'll leave this in the comments as well. And you want to kind of level up your stuff. Obviously, I'm doing the free version. That's why I have this guy up here, this little guy over here. And if you want to do this kind of thing yourself, this is where you can get it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in today. And have a great rest of your day. Or I guess it's nighttime now, so enjoy your night. Get some sleep. Have a good Monday. Don't work too hard. And yeah. Oh, so the person who's joining in last minute. Thanks for joining it. And I'm going to go to Wawa and get my wife some ice cream because she had a long day and she deserves it. Anyway, I'll catch you all later. Have a wonderful rest of your night.